The story begins with Ta Lu. She is trying to rescue a lost cat on a very high tree branch, but she doesn't know how to do it. Suddenly, a handsome young man appears and helps her. The poor girl thanks him, but he doesn't respond. With an arrogant face, he looks at her with disgust and then walks away to make it to his appointment on time. And that is Cha La Fai, a young man from Japan. Everyone usually calls him by a friendly name, Ten Ten. His father came to Thailand for business. Because of that, Ten Ten is a transfer student. He is not only famous for being arrogant, cold, and mischievous, but on the other hand, his IQ is extremely high. When this attractive male student arrives at school, the principal announces that she has decided to transfer him and put him in the class for the best students. She continues to praise him, but right after her words, a female student rushes in. The principal's face changes immediately. She is embarrassed because Ta Lu is late, and she knows the girl is considered a special student, which makes Ta Lu sad and unable to talk back. However, she is secretly happy to know that Ten Ten will study at the same school as her. After that, Ten Ten refuses the principal's offer and instead, he chooses to stay in the class for weak students like Ta Lu. After saying that, he leaves. Deep down, she is happy to have him in her class. At that time, Ta Lu also walks outside. She mutters to herself, telling the cat in a frustrated tone that her class is always known for being weak and has nothing good about it. Suddenly, she sees Ten Ten standing under a tree nearby. Ta Lu suggests that he keep the lost cat, saying that the cat seems to like being with him more, while she is afraid she won't be able to take good care of it. With no other choice, Ten Ten has to agree with a very indifferent look. After that, she goes back to the shop to help her father. Seeing Ta Lu sitting alone struggling with a piece of paper, Mr. Han, her father, pretends to cough a few times to get his daughter's attention, and asks what Ta Lu is doing in a questioning tone. She answers that she is folding paper. But knowing she cannot hide it from her parent, she confesses that she is folding paper to prepare to write a letter. Her father asks Ta Lu if she is writing it to turn in to her teacher, but with a perfectly innocent face, she calmly replies that she is writing it for her boyfriend. This makes the customers in the shop feel completely shocked. Mr. Han chooses to defend his daughter and even scolds them not to pay attention, calling them a bunch of busybodies. A second later, the poor girl starts writing the letter, confessing her feelings and telling him about her day and even her father's scandals, that he paints very beautifully, so beautifully that he only painted exactly one picture, and then never picked up a brush again. He also cooks very well, so the shop is very crowded, and the customers wait so long that they go crazy and hold knives to threaten him to hurry up. But deep down in Ta Lu's heart, there is a surge of happiness. Even though her mother passed away early, her father is always by her side and protects her every day. In the letter, she also confesses that although she seems a bit slow, she is very enthusiastic, and on busy days she is even helped by a friend named Chang. Finally, Ta Lu ends the letter with the statement that she really likes Ten Ten and looks forward to seeing him again. In a flash, the new school year started, and she went to school as usual. Ta Lu's friends happily run to her and tell her that a top-ranked, handsome student has joined their school. They don't stop praising him. When Ta Lu hears his name, her eyes widen as she realizes he is the friend she just met. As for Chang, who is always silently by Ta Lu's side, when he notices her admiring the new student, he becomes sad. It is clear that he is jealous but not ready to act yet. Suddenly, the principal walks in with a handsome male student and introduces him as Ten Ten. She also doesn't stop praising him. After that, she asks the other students to introduce themselves. The girls introduce themselves first, and each of them expresses that they really admire and love Ten Ten. However, he acts like he doesn't care. Finally, it's Ta Lu's turn to introduce herself. At this moment, he suddenly remembers something. It's clear that they have known each other since childhood, but he still acts cold as if he doesn't care until the teacher asks him to sit next to her. She takes the opportunity and starts trying to get Ten Ten's attention, but she fails. He continues to act cold as if she doesn't exist. This makes her sad, and when she meets her friends, they notice something is wrong. Her friend Yuyi even says that Ten Ten was secretly photographed and posted in online groups, and there are many plans made just for him. Hearing that, Ta Lu looked sad because Ten Ten got so much attention, which made her feel a bit insecure. Her friend Pa added that someone even intentionally wore an off-the-shoulder top to look sexy, but Ten Ten still ignored her. The two friends even doubted if he was actually into girls. However, Ta Lu spoke up to defend him, saying he wasn't that kind of person. She even claimed he was kind and very cute, even though he could be a bit blunt sometimes. Yuyi asked Ta Lu when she had talked to Ten Ten, and mentioned that many students in school were even placing bets with each other. If he took the initiative to talk to someone first, that person would be lucky enough to get free meals for the whole semester. Right then, Ta Lu confidently told her two friends that she had met Ten Ten before school started, and they talked for quite a while. She also said she asked him to help take care of a stray cat. When her friends heard this, they were very excited and decided to take her to meet the new student. Very soon after, They went together to the area where Tenten was sitting and reading a book. Ta Lu started talking to him, asking if he remembered her, mentioning the break and the cat, but he denied ever meeting her and even said he didn't like cats. Suddenly, she was shocked to find out that her friends had bet that Tenten would answer her, and they won. When Ta Lu discovered the bet, she was very angry. Tenten mocked her and then walked away. But it seemed like Ta Lu had no intention of giving up. She followed him and asked why he lied about not knowing her. He continued to lie, saying he had never met her and told her to leave him alone. The next day at school, she was worried about her cat, so she started looking for it everywhere. This was the same cat that helped her meet Tenten for the first time. While she was searching, Tenten appeared and told her that the cat was with him and was doing fine. She was both happy and worried, and tried to give him her love letter. He took the letter and just walked away like that. Afterward, Ta Lu returned to school feeling anxious and thoughtful. Would he come and say he liked her too? Would he say that he couldn't sleep all night because he was thinking about her? Ta Lu kept drowning in her daydreams, imagining Tenten confessing his love to her. But suddenly, Ta Lu's best friend Chung interrupted her thoughts and pulled her away to show her something. Unfortunately, Tenten had taken her letter and started correcting the spelling mistakes in it. When she found out, she felt humiliated and just wanted to run away like a coward. In the end, the whole school knew what happened. Chung got angry for her, grabbed the letter and ripped it to shreds. The next day, she couldn't hold back her feelings anymore and cried because of what Tenten did. Chung decided to comfort her. Later, while Tenten was on a break, Ta Lu's friends teased him about the prank he had pulled. Chung kept glaring at him, feeling both annoyed and wanting to protect his friend. But Tenten didn't care and continued to act cold. During the break, Ta Lu's friends decided they would always stay by her side and protect her. They promised her that whoever tried to talk bad about her, they would make that person shut up. Chung noticed she was still sad and suggested they go visit her. That day they had a great time together, and Ta Lu felt happy because her friends were always there to help her. After that, the group went to Ta Lu's father's restaurant. Seeing Mr. Han busy cooking alone, Chung went to help him. The father took this chance to tell her friend that he noticed his daughter had been very sad lately. He asked if he knew the reason, but he didn't tell the truth and instead reassured him that he would protect Ta Lu and not let anyone get near her. Mr. Han really appreciated the kindness the friend showed his daughter, so he didn't hesitate to prepare a very grand meal. It seemed like this group of close friends had come to Ta Lu's father's shop so many times that they even knew what story he was going to tell next. Even so, they still tried to act happy and excited to hear Mr. Han tell his story about beautiful friendship as if it were the first time they heard it. Everything seemed peaceful until an explosion happened in the restaurant. Everyone managed to run outside before the building collapsed. After the incident, a reporter arrived and interviewed them. She asked Ta Lu's father if he ever suspected anyone. He took the opportunity and said for sure there were people competing unfairly. But he wasn't afraid of these petty people, and even said he would forgive them because his daughter Ta Lu was still safe. However, a troublemaker grabbed the microphone and claimed that basically, there were no competitors trying to harm his restaurant. It was simply a gas tank explosion. The reporter then asked him the next question, about whether this explosion would cause the house structure to collapse. Mr. Han answered in a very confident tone that their ceiling was very solid, and he didn't hesitate to prove it. A second later, he walked toward the house and banged hard on the wall with his hand. Unfortunately, the house collapsed completely. That means Ta Lu and her father are officially going to be living on the street. It's clearly a case of when it rains, it pours. When Ta Lu went to school the next day, she noticed people treated her differently and felt pity for her. After school, when she returned home, Ta Lu asked her dad if they were going to stay over at Uncle Dao's house. Her father nodded slightly and added that the kind neighbors gave them a lot of clothes. And then, in a very quiet space, the father and daughter reminisced about her late mother. Ta Lu's mother passed away when she was very young, so her memories of her were only through her father's stories. She even pressed her father, asking if her mom knew and was better than her. The gray-haired father told the story with all the love he had for his wife. He said her mother was a perfect person, even much smarter than the two of them. He also didn't understand why someone like her mother would like him, a person who was both slow and poor, basically a real loser. However, his sweet daughter gently reassured her father that no matter what, she really loved him and her mother knew and too. The next day, her friend Chung came to take her to school. As usual, he took the opportunity to ask if she needed anything. She said she needed some books because all her things had burned up. Chung said that buying the whole set of books would be quite expensive, but he promised to handle it. When she got to class, she suddenly saw Tenten walk out very quickly and noticed there were books on her desk. She thought he was the one who left them for her. Overjoyed, she happily told her friends, insisting that he had changed and become kind to her. Ta Lu's friends were skeptical, but later they believed he was the one who brought the books. Yi explained that someone with an IQ that's off the charts like Tenten probably didn't need books, but she mentioned that the letter Ta Lu wrote to him was leaked, so he probably wasn't a good person. Maybe he just didn't need them anymore and gave them away. Talu told her two best friends that she didn't care. As long as they were 10's books, she would try her best to study hard. Then she left and went to a cactus paradise on the school grounds. Unexpectedly, 10 was also there, and she accidentally splashed water on him. Instead of apologizing, she convinced herself that he deserved it because he had made fun of her letter. Later, she thanked him for bringing her the new books. He mocked Talu, saying that with her intelligence, even having books would only go so far. Even though she was only rated as being able to read and understand about 26% of the book's content, Talu saw it as a compliment. This silly girl ignored his insult and continued to be happy, which made 10 give up. 10 also didn't understand why she was so happy, but for her, the only important thing was that he had thought of her. He also asked her where she lived now after the house was destroyed. She gave him the address and even invited him to visit, but he didn't care and walked away. After returning to Uncle Dao's house, where they were staying, Talu told her dad that someone gave her new books and she had thanked that person. While they were happily eating, Mr. Han suddenly heard someone calling his name. He thought it was the group of reporters coming to get information. However, when he went out to see who it was, he was shocked to see his old friend, Mr. Biom. They realized that Mr. Biom came here to take the father and daughter to live with his family. After that, Talu and her father went to her father's friend's house. The next morning, Chong went to Uncle Dao's house to find Talu, but found out that she had moved. Not knowing where she went, he sadly blamed her for not saying a word. In another scene, Talu arrived at her father's friend's house and was shocked because it was so luxurious. As soon as she walked in, she noticed a cat that looked exactly like the one she had given 10. She was happy and thought about playing with it until she suddenly saw 10 in front of her. She couldn't believe her eyes. Not knowing if it was a coincidence or fate, Talu was extremely surprised to see 10 at Uncle Bom's house, her father's close friend. First, she was very excited and even asked him how he knew she was here to find her. But as usual, he didn't answer. Suddenly, a stranger came and grabbed her hand. That woman's name was Kyo, and she even called Talu daughter and acted very close to her. After that, both families had a friendly meal together. Here, she was shocked to find out that 10 was actually the son of her father's friend, and the two of them had once been raised together. Besides, he also had a younger brother named Tubo, who was busy with extra classes and couldn't make it home in time to eat with them. Turned out that years ago, after a fall while playing with 10, all of Talu's memories were wiped out, which is why she knew absolutely nothing about Uncle Bom's family. The next day, as she was about to go downstairs for breakfast, Talu heard 10's younger brother complaining to Aunt Kyo. The kid complained about why his parents brought a stranger into his house to live, and even took over his brother's room, making the two brothers miserable sleeping in the same room. Then, she walked to the dining table and expressed her wish to be friends with the boy. Tubo used his judgmental eyes to look Talu up and down. When she sat down at the table and tried to make a good impression on the boy, Tubo didn't give her that chance. He took off running as if he were being chased by a ghost. He treated her coldly just like 10. She felt that rebellious hormones seemed to be a trait of this whole family. As for 10, he also intended to skip breakfast, using the excuse that he was late. But Mom Kyo stopped him in time and even forced him to drive Talu to school. Facing a powerful woman in the house, 10 had no choice but to listen to his mother. Very soon after that, the two of them went to school together. However, 10 didn't want the news of them living in the same house to spread, so he drove her near the school and let Talu walk in, pretending they didn't know each other at all. Fearing Talu's memory would be overloaded, he repeatedly told her that she must not let anyone know about the relationship between them, especially now that they were in the same house. Right when she got to school, Talu saw her friends waiting for her. As soon as he saw her, Chong ran over and questioned her about why she moved without saying a word to him, then asked for her new address. Feeling flustered, Talu almost let the information slip out, but luckily she caught herself just in time and didn't let it go too far. She tried to dodge the question and explained that the move happened so fast that she didn't have time to let him know. Talu is naturally a kind and honest girl, so lying like that made her feel very guilty. Then she told him not to worry because she had moved into the house of one of her father's friends. Chong still insisted on her giving him the exact address. To hide it, she tried to change the subject, but suddenly her other friends showed up. At that point, she was successful in distracting them, but surprisingly, her friends wouldn't leave her alone. They kept asking about her new address. Finally, Talu felt frustrated and told them that she didn't want to say anything else, and then she just walked away. She pulled herself together and ran away from all of them, leaving behind confused faces and minds full of questions. When she got into class, the teacher stood in front of everyone and announced that 10 would participate in a national math competition. For that reason, the teacher wanted some volunteers to cheer for him. Talu immediately grabbed the opportunity. Everyone realized that she was going to participate. And when her friends heard the news, they were very surprised because she had forgiven 1010 so quickly even though he had humiliated her before. She told them over and over that what's in the past stays in the past, and besides she had already forgotten about it. When she got home, the younger brother Tubo knew his brother was going to take part in the math competition. He also said sadly that his school had an older girl participating, but compared to someone top tier like 1010 it was like a tiger eating a pig. The boy also gave a lot of praise to a girl named Nam Khan, who was not only just as smart as his brother but also very beautiful, tall, and had very fair skin. Since she was such a perfect girl, everyone used to call her Diva. Meanwhile, Talu felt extremely excited. She cleaned her room while singing and dancing, and she kept muttering to herself to cheer for 1010. The next morning, as usual, Talu went downstairs for breakfast to get ready for school when she ran into Tubo's glaring eyes. The boy probably felt that this reluctant sister wasn't troubled enough, so he intentionally teased her, saying that his brother was about to face a major rival, who was also someone 1010 liked a lot. It looks like this time your brother has to rack his brain choosing between love and winning. These seemingly harmless words made Talu extremely sad, like she was completely out of it. But anyway, she was determined to cheer for 1010 until the very end. In a flash, the day of the competition arrived. There, 1010 accidentally overheard a conversation between his rival and her teacher. The teacher pressured her, saying she had to win at all costs. As soon as the girl realized 1010 saw her, she looked at him with disgust and walked away. But 1010 didn't care. He didn't seem flustered at all and went straight to the competition venue. When he entered, Talu and her friends cheered for him. 1010 probably didn't expect his cheering squad to be so powerful. They all chanted his name at the same time, looking a bit overboard. Since he is naturally an introvert, this time it was clear that if the friends weren't embarrassed, then poor 1010 was the one cringing. A second later, he started answering the questions correctly and made it to the finals. Talu realized that he was competing against the beautiful girl his brother had told her about. She felt jealous seeing that girl because she was truly beautiful and smart. She became sad and felt like there was no more hope to be with the champion. However, 1010 had a sudden turn of events. He intentionally lost and came in second, but he didn't care. He left the competition and walked away as soon as it ended. The winning girl appeared to thank him, and she even said this victory was very important to her. The two of them talked very happily, living in their own moment. Seeing the person she was crushing on laughing and talking with another girl, Lu's eyes showed a deep sadness. She even imagined a series of scenes of how close they were, and along with Tubo's earlier influence, she fully believed that it had to be love between them. The next day when 1010 arrived at school, Principal Mui asked him why he lost. Even though the questions were easy and he is smart, he stayed silent and didn't know how to answer until his teacher saved him and let him out to carry things into the classroom. Later, when he walked into the classroom, they all congratulated 1010 because he was destined to win. He didn't expect that even though he only came in second, they would still cheer for him so enthusiastically. It's simply because they are happy that this class has a reputation for being weak. And 1010 came and turned everything around, something no one had ever achieved before. The whole class got to share in his glory. Meanwhile, Talu was still sad. Thinking there was something between 1010 and that other girl, she figured he must have lost on purpose because of love. The competition ended, the school day ended, and when she walked out, Chung was waiting for Talu. She felt really unlucky. She realized that nothing had really changed for her. After that, Talu kept telling herself that she would change and become a smart person so that 1010 would like her. At night, she took out her books. But while studying, she realized she didn't understand anything at all. Talu lost hope and saw those numbers looking like a giant mess. After a bit of determination, she finally fainted into an 8-hour sleep. It seemed like she needed to get enough rest to have the energy to keep studying. The next day, 1010's mother came to find Talu, woke her up, and said they were going to buy new clothes for her. When she heard this news, she was very happy because she thought shopping for clothes was every girl's secret weakness. Since this woman didn't have a daughter, she really adored Talu and wanted her to call her mom Kyo to make their relationship closer. Very soon after, they went to the shopping mall together. Talu saw an advertisement flyer for tutoring from a center, which even guaranteed that a newbie like her would get good results within 3 months. Suddenly, Mom Kyo brought Talu an expensive dress, but she refused. Instead, she wanted to sign up for tutoring. She said she wanted to become smart and bright, just like her son 1010. Mom Kyo told her she had another solution that was better than tutoring, and asked her to listen. After that, Talu agreed and accepted the dress from her. When 1010's mother returned home, she told him that he would be the tutor for Talu, and that this was the solution she had planned. He protested, saying that her brain was only the size of a green pea, and then asked if she was really going to wear such a sexy dress just to sit and study. Since harsh words didn't work, Mom Kyo had to switch to sweet mode with her son. Her voice suddenly changed from tough to sentimental. She said Ta Lu really liked that dress but didn't know for what occasion to wear it, so she had refused. Even though the girl tried to stop her, she bought it anyway. Finally, Mom Kyo concluded that Ten would have to tutor Ta Lu, and she would wear these gorgeous dresses to go out to dinner with him. Once again, he had no choice but to obey. It's clear that if Mr. Bum only dared to flick the light switch his whole life, his son stood no chance of winning an argument against this powerful woman. Indeed, this mother was determined to make Ta Lu happy. She took her to get ready, dressed her in a new outfit, and even told her stories about how her son and Ta Lu had been friends. Since childhood, the two of them had always been together and were extremely close. Mom Kyo explained that because she loved girls so much, and since Ten was a boy, she had made him dress like a little girl. At that time, Ta Lu believed this too. But one day, she discovered Ten wasn't a girl, so she didn't want to play with him anymore. Not wanting to play with someone who lied to her, because he couldn't accept it, Ten pushed Ta Lu, making her tumble onto the ground. This hard collision caused her to become a bit stupid, and after that she didn't remember Ten, Uncle Bom or Mrs. Kyo anymore. Thinking that Ta Lu would be very angry after hearing this, but she actually felt happy because she wasn't born stupid. It was all just due to that accident back then, and she could still try to become a talented person like her mother Nguyen. After that, she showed her photos of when they were little. When Ta Lu saw the photos, she burst out laughing because Ten used to dress like a girl. She took the opportunity and asked for one of the photos. Ten's mother agreed but asked her not to say anything to him because he believed those photos were lost, and his dark past was buried. This point, Ta Lu was overjoyed. She finally turned the tables and held Ten's shocking secret. In another development, Ten, who was feeling sad and couldn't find anyone in front of him except his younger brother, Tubo even expressed pity when Ten had to teach someone with a level of intelligence like Ta Lu's. Very soon after that, Mom Kyo quickly called her son to get ready for his role as Ta Lu's tutor. As soon as he stepped into the room, he was shocked by her appearance and became nervous because Ta Lu looked very beautiful, and he wasn't used to seeing her like this. To be honest, with her beauty and charm, he felt a little flutter in his heart. Seeing her son looking passionately at the girl standing in front of him, Mom Kyo was as happy as if she had struck gold. It really was worth all the effort she put in. However, when the lesson started, because she was Ta Lu, someone so clumsy and silly, he felt tired of her. She noticed that he was exhausted because of her stupidity. As a result, dealing with an excellent student like Ta Lu, Ten couldn't hold on any longer and fell asleep. He rested his handsome face on the glass table. There, she secretly looked at him through the table and even gave him a passionate kiss. Suddenly, Ten woke up. In his confusion, he pretended to moan that he had a bad headache. At this time, to apologize because tutoring her made him feel that way, Ta Lu went to find medicine for Ten, but he refused and became nervous because of her closeness. His face also started turning bright red, which made Ta Lu panic. She forced him to take the medicine, but just one small movement made both of them tumble over. Ta Lu shyly escaped the awkward mess. Her movements looked like a fish out of water. The next day on the way to school, he noticed her leg was hurting from the fall the day before. He felt guilty and offered to give her a ride. When he brought her to school, Ten found out there was a math test today. The teacher warned them not to cheat. They decided to isolate Ten so no one could copy his work because he was the smartest student and everyone wanted to do that. He quickly finished the test, turned it in and left, leaving everyone stunned by his speed. When the test time ended, Ta Lu's friends went to eat. They noticed she wasn't with them, so they asked about her whereabouts. Chung told them that he didn't know, only knowing that she had been acting very strangely lately and often disappeared. Since her main concern was always studying, her friends decided to wait for her after school. At that time, they kept an eye on her to see where she would go. Chung Yi and Pa actually went together and waited until Ta Lu appeared. When they saw her get into a taxi, they followed her. Yi suddenly got out of the vehicle in front of an extremely luxurious and impressive house. This time, Ten was also wobbling along on his bicycle to get back home, taking the chance. His three friends pressed him to ask if the magnificent house in front of them actually belonged to him. Pa even threatened him, saying that if Ten didn't tell the truth, she would show him what's what. At this ironic moment, Ten tried to dodge them, but they ran toward him. They grabbed him, tackled him down and asked a lot of questions, but he refused to answer or tell them anything. Suddenly, Ta Lu's father appeared in front of them and then invited the kids into the house. When they went inside with him, they discovered that Ten and Ta Lu actually lived together in the same house. Her friend Chong started to target Ten. They realized that he would do the impossible for Ta Lu, even more than that, just to make her stay in that house. But Ten kept his word, reminding them that his family and Ta Lu's family had been friends since they were children, and they loved her. She also loved his family, and they couldn't be apart. So, it is possible that Ta Lu will live with him forever. 1010 also took this opportunity to put on a show in front of Chang, provoking him just like that. 1010 got closer and closer to Ta Lu, and when he couldn't stand it anymore, Chang became annoyed by their closeness. He felt like he had no hope left and she definitely wouldn't give up this glamour and wealth to be with an ordinary guy like him. So, his friends tried to make him feel better, but instead they encouraged Chang to step up. He decided that he wouldn't give up and would try to make Ta Lu love him. That is why when he went to school the next day, Chang was determined to study and work hard to become smart. When his friends saw him studying like that, they were very surprised. They thought he had decided to change so that Ta Lu would like him. They encouraged him and decided they would study with him. And indeed, after the exams were over, Ta Lu noticed that her friend had changed and become smart. She asked if he was doing this because he liked someone, but he dodged the answer. Meanwhile, Chang asked Ta Lu back if she was trying to study because she liked someone, but she also found a way to avoid it. Suddenly, she saw 1010 standing with the beautiful girl. After school, 1010 saw the beautiful girl from the competition standing in front of him. Namkan invited him to go for ice cream, but then she noticed Ta Lu was watching them. She asked 1010 if he needed to drive the girl living in the same house back first. This moment, 1010 frankly replied that there was no need to do that. Seeing the two of them happy, Ta Lu was extremely disappointed. She turned around, grabbed her things, and left. Then Chang noticed she was sad and offered to take her home. On the way, he suddenly stopped and asked if she liked 1010. She answered without thinking, realizing that she really loved 1010 and begged him not to tell anyone, asking him to keep it a secret between them. But Chang said that humans are naturally very strange, always loving people who don't like them back. At this moment, Ta Lu felt her friend's words were very true. When they got home, Chang also reminded the girl he liked not to lose to Nam Khan, and he also wouldn't give up against 1010. Chang asked her not to love 1010 too much, and to save a small spot for him. Ta Lu was shocked by his confession and thought about it all day. Meanwhile, 1010 had a good time with the beautiful girl Nam Khan, and it was clear that they were getting closer and closer. The next day when Ta Lu went to school, she found out that the results were out. She checked them and was very proud of the scores she achieved. She thanked 1010 and said that her success wouldn't have been possible without him. He was very happy and finally gave an attractive smile. In another scene, Ta Lu's friends found out that their teacher would have to leave the school if their grades didn't improve, and they themselves would be in trouble. Then, the whole group met up to find a way to solve the problem. At this time, Yui asked Ta Lu how she had gotten such high grades recently. They learned that 1010 had been helping her and studying with her every day. An idea popped into her head. She suggested they should ask 1010 to tutor the whole group. She went to ask him, but he refused, because it would be impossible to study such a long curriculum in such a short amount of time. 1010 even scolded them for wasting time before, and not studying at all. So Ta Lu begged him and asked him to give them just 1 hour a day. 1010 immediately got angry, saying that tutoring her every day already made his head want to explode, and now having to tutor her friends as well was very annoying. Ta Lu was tired of his rejection, so she followed him and pulled out a childhood photo of 1010 to threaten him. It seemed like she had pushed his final limit. At this moment, 1010's eyes were like thousands of daggers, and he growled, asking her why she had this photo. But she also talked back firmly, knowing her only solution was for him to help them, or else she would make the photo public. He was extremely angry with her and walked away immediately. He had no other choice, but he still didn't want to give in. When Ta Lu was alone, 1010 followed her and tried to get the photo back from her, but she refused every time. They started to argue. There, 1010 also found out that it was Mom Kyo who had shown her these photos. Then, he raised his hand and forced her to make a choice. Either return the photo herself, or he would take it from where she was hiding it. Ta Lu was not only not afraid but also threatened to tell Mom Kyo, telling her that he was a mean person who wouldn't help his teacher and friends. When he got home, his younger brother Tubo told him that the beautiful girl named Nam Khan had decided to go to the same university he would attend. Tubo also revealed to his brother that he planned to become a doctor later on. 1010 told his brother that no matter how good he was at studying, if he didn't have the conscience to help others, he would never become a good doctor. He also told the kid he was still young and would have plenty of time to think. The atmosphere seemed a bit tense, so then Tubo invited his brother out to play basketball. 1010 agreed. However, a big problem arrived. He saw the whole class gathering at his house. He realized that Ta Lu had carried out her threat, intentionally putting more pressure on him. 1010 was angry and tried to get away from them, but she kept reminding him about the photo. Finally, he was forced to tutor them. 1010 started explaining the lesson, but they didn't understand anything at all and were even worse than Ta Lu. He spent the whole day just to explain one single lesson. He was completely worn out because of them. That is why he started thinking of a way to get away from them. At night, 1010 sneaked into Ta Lu's room, making sure she was asleep, and started looking for the photo. But he was shocked when he suddenly saw her standing right in front of him. Both worried and angry, She asked him what he was looking for. He stammered and couldn't get the words out. Silly Ta Lu thought he was hungry and looking for food, so she even offered to go down to the kitchen to prepare some delicious dishes for Ten to fill his stomach. He waited for a chance, but as he searched around he realized he had made the room a total mess. Panicked, he quickly cleaned it up before she came back. Ta Lu noticed it, and he kept telling himself that he wouldn't give up on searching again. The next day, he explained the lesson to the whole group from the beginning again, and his younger brother also came to help. When the day ended, he went to check if Ta Lu was asleep yet, but this time, she walked out to wait for him and said that it was probably his hungry time again. This time, both of them would prepare a late-night meal together. Afterward, they sat and ate together. He listened while she talked. She took advantage of the moment and hinted to him that her love looked a lot like Ten. He became nervous because of her words. He quickly got up and left. The next day, Ten took advantage of her not being home and sneaked into her room again to look for the photo. But suddenly, his mom caught him and asked what he was doing in Ta Lu's room. Ten said that because Mom Kyo let his childhood photo out, Ta Lu used it as an excuse to threaten him, making him follow all her silly requests, and he asked her to get all those photos back by any means necessary. As for Ta Lu, she went to see Chang and gave him the study notes that Ten had used. She told him that if he studied from them, he would succeed and get high grades. Chang took the opportunity and asked if she had thought about what he told her. He was probably referring to his confession. However, Ta Lu bluntly told Chang that she didn't feel the same way about him. With no other choice, Chang suggested they stay friends and promised not to make Ta Lu feel awkward anymore. Actually, everything he was doing now was just because he didn't want to lose her. Many days passed, and the students started to feel bad for each other. The results were announced, and they found out they had succeeded and their teacher would safely get to stay. They were all happy and thanked Ten for helping them get good results in the graduation exam. Afterward, as he was leaving, Ten met the beautiful Nam Khan again. She asked if he planned to continue his studies, but Ten didn't clearly state his next plans. She told him that she wanted to study with him and compete with him everywhere. Nam Khan asked Ten where the girl living in the same house would study next. However, he chose to leave the story about Ta Lu open and said nothing. Back to Ta Lu, who finally managed to get close to Ten's younger brother. The boy also started getting closer to her, and let her take him to school. When she got there, she saw Nam Khan standing in front of her. Nam Khan asked her about Ten and introduced herself as his best friend. She also took the opportunity, knowing Ten admired her, and warned that she wouldn't let anyone else get close to him. Ta Lu was shaken by her words. She left and went into the school. Once there, the teacher said he would quit his job here and go volunteer at another school. Time passed quickly, and in a flash, the semester ended and they graduated. Ta Lu said she would study hard so she could get into the same university Ten would attend. He encouraged her and promised to help her study. She kept inviting him for ice cream, and they hung out together, spending time with each other. It was really cute, and even Ten started getting closer to her. Then, Ten unexpectedly gave Ta Lu a kiss and left. When Ta Lu returned home, she was very happy and couldn't stop thinking about what happened between her and Ten. She felt a little hopeful that he might like her, and that one day something might happen between them. The next day, Ta Lu went to school with Ten's younger brother. She tried to help him so he could win the heart of the girl he liked. By chance, she saw Nam Khan standing with Ten. Seeing them together, she got more and more jealous, thinking they were dating. Ta Lu felt jealous until she realized Tubo was also sad, because the girl he liked didn't care about him. She invited him to go for ice cream to cheer him up. Meanwhile, Chang saw Ten walking by with another girl. After that, he went to find Ta Lu to spend time with her, but found her with Ten's brother instead. He kept thinking about what he should say and whether he should tell Ta Lu that he saw Ten with that girl. When Ta Lu got home, she told the family she decided to volunteer and help her teacher so he could teach well at a new school. Mom Kyo was worried about her, thinking she was going alone, but Ta Lu told her that her friends, including Chang, were coming along. Her father heard Chang's name and felt relieved, but Ten got angry. His mom asked him to go too because she didn't want Chang to get close to Ta Lu, and wanted her son to love her. However, Ten still refused. He told his mom he would never participate. A second later, his mother had to threaten him with publishing the childhood photos. Finally, Mom Kyo worked it out with her son. He told his mom he had one condition. She had to destroy all his childhood photos and she had to do it right in front of him so he could be sure she wouldn't use anything else against him. Ten also warned her that if she kept any copies and threatened him again, he would leave home and never come back. Mom Kyo agreed. The next day, when Ta Lu went to help the teacher, she found out Ten was there too. But he didn't go alone. He brought Nam Khan with him. She couldn't stand the sight of it. Meanwhile, Chang was secretly happy to see them together. He thought this was his chance to get as close to Ta Lu as he wanted. The teacher introduced them to the upcoming work. He explained that he couldn't take everyone at the same time. If a certain number of people were needed, he would take them to the village first and the others would join later. Their mission was to build a school to teach people who didn't have the opportunity to go to school. So, Talu and her friends volunteered and of course, Tintin went with them. They traveled to the village together. On the way, Talu got tired. Her friend stayed by her side and Tintin felt jealous of their closeness, but he hid his feelings and acted like he didn't care. When they arrived at the village, they realized they had to stay overnight. And because there was no phone signal, they couldn't contact others. They were forced to spend time together and help each other with everything. Every time he had a chance, Chang tried to get close to Talu. Tintin clearly looked annoyed every time he saw them together. Chang was always sticking close to Talu. After that, the teacher told them they had to go into the forest to get some tools. He needed volunteers to stay behind to finish some work. Talu raised her hand and said she was ready to finish the job with her friend, and then join the others in the forest. Tintin was worried about her, but she reassured him that she knew the way well. Even so, he was still secretly worried. After that, Talu and her friend finished the work and started heading toward the forest. After walking for a bit, Yi complained that she was too tired and couldn't walk such a long distance. She suggested taking a shortcut and said they definitely wouldn't get lost here. Meanwhile, Talu followed her friend with an uneasy feeling. At the same time, the other friends noticed that Talu and her companion had been gone for a long time. They thought she was just running late on the way. They went to tell the teacher, and he became worried. At this point, Tintin, panicked by what they said, checked his watch and realized it was very late. He decided to go find them himself, and the teacher split the rest of the people into groups to search. The teacher asked them to find Talu and her friend, and everyone got worried because they had disappeared. Back to Talu and Yi, the two realized they were lost. Talu suggested her friend should go back to where they were before, hoping someone had noticed they were missing and would come looking. But Yi seemed exhausted and couldn't keep going. The students went back to the teacher and reported that they had searched everywhere, but couldn't find Talu or her friend. Tintin told the teacher he felt they were in the forest. Chang heard that and insisted the teacher had to act. So, the teacher gathered all the boys and decided to go look personally. Night fell, darkness took over, and Talu and her friend became extremely scared. Yi's condition got worse as her fever got higher. This made Talu even more scared. Meanwhile, Tintin got more and more worried, calling her name as loud as he could, desperately searching. The teacher scolded him and ordered everyone to be quiet so they could hear the girls if they answered. But Tintin wouldn't stop. He ignored the teacher's instructions and kept searching alone, regardless of the consequences. At this point, Yi got weaker and weaker and couldn't move anymore. Suddenly she fainted. Talu panicked, afraid her friend might be in danger. She cried in despair until she suddenly heard Tintin's call. She ran toward him, feeling both happy and tearful when she saw him. Tintin breathed a sigh of relief and quickly tried to help her friend who had fainted. Meanwhile, the teacher realized Tintin had also disappeared and worried about who to look for now. He decided to split the group once again to find Tintin and the two girls. Back to Tintin. He tried to help the unconscious friend but didn't know what to do. Fear took over him. He was terrified that she might be in danger. Suddenly, an old man appeared and took them to his house. The old man brought some herbs, and with his guidance, Tintin prepared a remedy to help the sick girl recover. Talu helped him, exhausted from worry until she fell asleep. When Tintin noticed she was asleep, he quietly came closer and gently touched her hand, showing his feelings. Just then Yi woke up and saw him. Feeling embarrassed, Tintin hurried out of the room and went outside. After that, the old man approached him and praised him, saying Talu was very smart, and Chala Fai could become a nurse. He suggested they should work together. This idea really impressed Tintin. The next day, Tintin, Talu, and Yi returned to the original spot. As soon as their classmates saw them, they rushed over to check on the situation. Talu explained what happened to her and her friend. It turned out that Yi was bitten by a poisonous spider on her hand, which is why her condition was so bad. Later, Yi, Talu's friend, remembered what happened the night before. She realized that Tintin had feelings for Talu, but unfortunately, she couldn't keep this secret to herself. She blurted it out to Pa. This friend couldn't sit still either, because she was so curious. She asked Talu if she had been kissed. Facing the rapid-fire questions from her two best friends, Talu felt embarrassed and tried to avoid the conversation. But her friends kept pressing her. She kept denying everything, insisting that Yi must have been sick and dizzy, so she saw things wrong, and there was absolutely no way Tintin kissed her. Then Talu started running away from them. Finally, Pa also seemed suspicious, thinking maybe Yi really was mistaken. At night, they all gathered because they were about to say goodbye to the village. Tintin kept watching them and felt very jealous, especially because she was close to Chang. The next day they packed their bags, said goodbye to the teacher and left. Although they were only here for a short time, they surely gained a lot of love and learned to help each other. When Talu returned, Tintin was at home. Everyone kept asking which school Tintin would choose. Some suggested he go to Japan, others said he should study abroad. Some said he should become an astronaut. Everyone was quiet, wanting him to speak for himself. Tintin explained that he wanted to move out to live on his own for a while. He wanted to learn how to be independent and discover what he truly wanted to be. As soon as she heard this news, his mother broke down and cried. But his father and Talu's father encouraged him to act like a man and be independent. Even so, they still reminded him that Talu wouldn't be able to live without him. But Tintin insisted that he wouldn't change his mind, that he would make his own decisions and would live alone no matter what. After that, he packed his clothes and luggage to leave. Before going, he told his younger brother to take care of and keep an eye on Talu. If that dummy acts too silly, just give Tintin a call to let him know. His younger brother took this chance to advise him to stay, but Tintin refused and explained that he felt this was the right path. Then he said goodbye to Talu. Seeing her crying, he tried to comfort her, saying he would keep in touch and reminding her to also study hard to become a nurse. Before leaving, he hinted that he liked her. After he left, everyone said their goodbyes. Talu started throwing herself into her studies and also took care of Tintin's younger brother. One day when Tubo went to school, he ran into Nam Khan standing right in front of him. She invited him to lunch and revealed that she knew his brother's new address. She knew exactly where he was living. He tried to press her on how she knew this, but she angrily refused to answer. Confused, he went to Talu's father's restaurant and told him about Nam Khan and what she said. The father acted surprised and asked the boy who the girl he just mentioned was. The younger brother then explained it was Nam Khan, the girl who liked his brother. He excitedly added that she was beautiful, smart, and just as kind as Talu. The father listened carefully, worrying that if Talu found out, she would be very sad. He tried to make the younger brother promise not to say anything to her. Tubo added that since Talu is such a crybaby, no one would dare mess with her, so he could definitely be trusted with this. At the end of that day, as soon as Tubo got home, he immediately told her straight out that Nam Khan knew exactly where Tintin was and where he lived. That sentence left her completely stunned, unable to believe her ears. Hearing her burst into tears, a strange sense of jealousy suddenly rose up in him, but he still tried to comfort her until she calmed down. Once she regained her composure, she begged him not to let anyone know she had cried. He smiled to reassure her, promising that her secret would be kept strictly confidential, just like her father's secret. The next morning when she walked out, she saw all her friends gathered in front of her, and she quickly realized that Tintin's brother had told them about how she was crying and sad. They wouldn't sit still and were determined to help her find Tintin's place. The younger brother took command, telling them to let him start because he had a plan. He would call Nam Khan, ask to meet, and say he wanted to bring some food for his brother. She would surely accept. When she left to go get the stuff, they would secretly follow her, tracking her footsteps to find where she went. The plan was a success. Tubo called her and asked to meet up. When she agreed, Nam Khan really believed him. He felt a little guilty toward her and his brother. Very soon after that, the whole group followed Nam Khan. Following the trail, they arrived at a shop and looked for Tintin, but they couldn't find him. He thought Nam Khan had figured out their plan and tricked them, so they kept sitting there waiting. Suddenly, Tintin showed up. He was working as a waiter at this restaurant, and they all believed it was him based on his look and the clothes he was wearing, but he didn't care about them and walked away. Talu followed him. When she found him, he got into a taxi and she went with him. She stayed by his side the whole way and told him everything that had happened while he was away. Tintin listened to her, enjoying the conversation. He thought he would spend the whole day with her. He took her out for a change of scenery. The day ended. He told her that he had decided to become a doctor. He asked her to pull herself together and study so she could work with him in the nursing field. She really liked this idea. Talu decided she would study. When she got home, she found out that Tintin had visited and set up a schedule for her to follow, including study summaries. From then on, Talu started following everything to a T. She tried to study hard to keep her promise to Tintin. Time flew by to 6 months later. Tintin had gotten into medical school, and Nam Khan wasn't far behind. The two of them were in the same school. To get closer to him, Nam Khan told him what happened on her first day of college. She said that when she first arrived, she played a game and lost. She was surprised to see Tintin studying there instead of Lapno. He told her he just needed a piece of paper called a doctor's certification. Then he left. She was very sad because she couldn't get close to Tintin, even though he went to the same school as her. Afterward, Nam Khan also went to the meeting spot with a guy named Dan, the one she did the challenge with. He started taking advantage of her and treating her like a servant. It turned out that Nam Khan had to be paired up with Dan for 2 weeks, and she absolutely didn't want that to happen. Meanwhile, on her first day at medical school, Talu got lost and didn't know where to go. She tried to call Tintin, but unfortunately dropped her phone on the ground. After that, she found a handsome young man and went to ask him for directions. It turned out to be Dan, who knew the place very well. He was very nice to her. So Ta-Lu thanked him for his help. She happily went to register her paperwork. While walking, she saw Nam Khan. Nam Khan said she was about to start studying with Ten and asked if Ta-Lu wanted to send him any message. Then, Ta-Lu asked her to tell him that she was about to apply to study there. Suddenly, Nam Khan laughed out loud with a clearly condescending tone, saying that wanting to study here required being truly smart, no matter which department it was. After returning home, remembering Nam Khan's harsh words, she burst into tears. She complained to Mom Kyo that she wasn't pretty, wasn't tall, didn't have long legs, and had nothing good at all. The woman quickly reassured her, saying she herself wasn't an elite person like Ta-Lu described, but on the other hand, Dad Bomb loved her very much and all her friends adored her. Mom Kyo advised her to set her feelings aside and just focus on studying. As long as you study hard and treat everyone well, you will be rewarded. After leaving Ta-Lu with those words, she went to talk to Ten. She invited him to dinner, but he said he was busy and couldn't make it. The next morning, Ten's mother woke up and saw Chang standing outside the house, worried about Ta-Lu. He even prepared snacks for her so she could focus on her studies. When she noticed that her friend Chang was gradually becoming close to her daughter, she felt uneasy and afraid that he might steal Ta-Lu away from Ten. Feeling pressured, she called Ten and threatened that if he didn't come to dinner, she would make certain photos public. He had no choice but to agree. Even though he hung up the phone in anger, the phone rang and Ten realized his mother was manipulating him, but he still went to meet her. He thought it was better than letting things get out of control. When they met, she took him to Ta-Lu's father's restaurant. She asked him if he liked Ta-Lu. Annoyed, he told his mother she was asking the same old questions again. She tried to push him even further, warning that it would soon be too late. He had to decide to be with her or he would lose her forever. Ten kept thinking about his mother's words, and it's clear that he's starting to change. As for Chang, he gradually got closer to Ta-Lu, staying by her side to support her and cooking delicious meals to cheer her up. Very soon after, the exam results were out. Ta-Lu went to check, but couldn't find her name in the nursing department. She was afraid she had failed. Then she found out she had to take another exam. Although she was very sad, her father encouraged her, reminding her that she would definitely pass next time. To help Ta-Lu pull herself together, Chang was already waiting outside with balloons and asked her out so she could forget about her exam scores. At the same time, Ten returned home. He saw them together and remembered his mother's words. It seemed like he was very sad. Back to Ta-Lu, her friend Chang took her to her father's restaurant. She saw all her friends there, and they cheered her up and joked around with her so she could forget about failing her exam. Ta-Lu spent the whole day with them and felt really happy. But when she got home at the end of the day, she saw Ten sitting there. When he saw her, he insulted her, accusing her of wasting time, not studying, not following his schedule, and not reading the summaries he had prepared for her. He even blamed Chang because he was annoyed by how she had spent her whole day with him. Chang tried to protect Ta-Lu and told Ten not to talk to her that way. But Ten ignored him and stayed quiet for a moment, then told him to leave his house. He insulted Ta-Lu again. Chang, unable to stand how she was being treated, was ready to pick a fight with Ten. But Ta-Lu stopped him by grabbing his arm before it could happen. When Ten saw her reaction and how she stood by Chang's side, he became sad. He left in a huff. Outside the door, Chang saw Ten waiting. Surprised and unable to hold back anymore, Chang started a fight with him. They traded punches, fighting back and forth until they were both exhausted. Finally, they decided to stop and sit down to talk rationally. During their talk, Chang defended himself and admitted that he gets upset whenever he sees Ta-Lu sad. He explained that Ten was too harsh with her, always putting pressure on her. Ten answered coldly, saying he treated her that way only because he wanted her to be a good and successful person. He believed that if he didn't push her, she would remain a failure for the rest of her life and would never feel the need to improve herself. Then Ten left. At this point, Chang felt that he might have misunderstood Ten by only judging him on the surface. Meanwhile, Ta-Lu went back to studying, refreshing her energy and making everyone around her proud and happy. When the retake exam day came, she gave it her all. After the exam was over, she went to see Ten. She told him that this time she had actually studied, and whether she passed or failed didn't matter. What mattered was that she had done her duty. She also told him she didn't feel guilty anymore, because he helped her do what she should have done a long time ago. She sincerely thanked him and walked away. The day the results came out arrived. She was nervous and didn't want anyone to see her anxiety, so she asked her friends to leave her alone. But when she finally saw the results, she was shocked. She made it. She had finally become a nurse. Everyone celebrated her success and threw a party at home. She felt truly happy. The next day, she decided to help her father and her friend at the restaurant. As for Chang, he took the chance to spend the whole day with Ta-Lu. He tried to get closer to her and felt happy. He thought she was finally opening up to him. He believed he had won her heart and that she seemed to have forgotten 1010. But deep down, when she got home, she realized she couldn't stop thinking about 1010. She couldn't stop missing him and admitted to herself just how much she missed him at that very moment. As for Namkan, the more she tried to show care and ask about 1010, the more cold he acted. Faced with that attitude, she became sad and walked out. When she went outside, she saw Dan right in front of her. Seeing her sad, he tried to cheer her up, made her laugh and invited her for coffee, showing his admiration. In the car, when Namkan peeked at Dan, her eyes were sad. She thought about how happy she would be if the person sitting next to her now were 1010, and then she felt a lot of pain for giving her feelings to him without getting anything back. The next morning, on the first day at university, there was a tradition for new students of the nursing department to play a game with the students of the medical department. Of course, Talu participated, but she lost. Her penalty was to date someone from the medical department for 2 weeks, but nobody agreed to date her. At this point, 1010 felt annoyed and stepped in to intervene. He declared that he would take the penalty himself. He promised her that he would be by her side during that entire time. When Namkan saw this, she became extremely angry. She knew that he only had feelings for Talu. The fact that he stood by Talu's side made her realize she was completely losing him. Disappointed, Namkan decided to leave and Dan followed her, but she rejected him and said harsh words that the two of them had nothing to do with each other. After that, Dan felt embarrassed by her words and walked away. By chance, while walking, Dan bumped into Talu. She suddenly remembered he was the one who helped give her directions on the first day she came here. From this moment on, Dan started to have a bit of an impression of Talu. The next morning, Talu met 1010 again. She suggested he return home because Mom Kyo and everyone missed him very much, but he refused, telling her he would return at the right time. She felt sad but stayed silent. When she returned home, she discovered that 1010 had moved everything and was planning to move back in with them once again. She was extremely happy but found it hard to believe. He told her he was just waiting for the right time. Meanwhile, Namkan went to the restaurant to visit 1010, but she was shocked to realize he had gone too far from her. She accepted that she would never have a place in his heart. She regretted everything, including making Dan sad, and felt heartbroken that day. The next day at university, Namkan saw 1010 taking Talu to school. She didn't like how he treated her coldly, but he simply walked away, not even saying hello to her. She was sad all day until Dan text says Namkan, likely a typo, came and asked her to go out. She agreed. During the time they were together, she kept telling him she loved 1010, but he didn't care about her or love her back. Meanwhile, Dan tried to convince her that he could be the one to make her happy, but she refused. It was clear she really loved 1010 and no one else. Later, Talu looked for 1010 and learned he was attending a lecture for outstanding students. When she arrived, she recognized the old man she had met in the forest when she was lost. After the lecture ended, 1010 and Talu went to greet the teacher. They didn't expect that he was a lecturer here. He said that they were a great match, one smart, one kind, and could support each other in the future. Hearing those words made Talu very happy. When the two of them went for a walk and talked to each other, Talu intentionally kept mentioning that tomorrow was a very important day for her. The day Mom knew and welcomed an angel into the world. However, 1010 just pretended not to understand and acted indifferent, which made her a bit disappointed. The next day, Talu felt sad because no one congratulated her or threw a birthday party for her. Could such a special day really go to waste like that? At the end of that day, when Talu got home, she was super surprised to see her family had thrown a party for her. Turns out they just acted like they forgot to give her a surprise. She was so happy. They spent the whole day together like a family, joking around, playing, and celebrating happily. The next day, when Talu went to the university, Namkan kept clinging to 1010, but this time Talu didn't give her a chance. She quietly followed and watched them. Later, when 1010 got home, his dad called him over to talk. Mr. Byom told his son that he was getting old, and if 1010 didn't take over the business, he would be forced to sell off some shares. And he needed to go to Japan soon to handle a lot of things. Meanwhile, 1010 wanted to study more about traditional medicine. He was very sad and couldn't stop thinking about what to do. That day, as usual, he drove Talu home. She noticed he looked troubled and asked why he was sad. He realized he wouldn't be able to spend time with her anymore because he would be so busy in the near future, and they might grow apart. When she asked him straight up why he was changing, he dodged the question, saying he would try to tell Talu as soon as possible. After class, she and her friends met up at Mr. Han's restaurant. 1010 saw her laughing and having a good time with them. He got jealous and was afraid that while he was away, she might get close to someone else. He went home still feeling down. His mom noticed his mood and tried to comfort him. Then she reminded him he had to pick up his dad from the airport. When he met his dad, Mr. Byom said he was hungry and wanted to eat at his friend's place. They went there and by chance Talu was there too. The dads knew each other very well. During the conversation, Ten's dad even suggested that after graduation, Lu should stay with his son, take care of him, and work with him. But instead of being happy, Ten got angry. He insisted that she shouldn't be forced to stay with him, and that she had to live her own life, even if it became harder. His harsh words made Lu extremely sad. Instead of trying to make up with her, he just stormed off in a rage. His father was disappointed but also felt bad about how things turned out. Lu felt hurt but tried to stay strong. On the way back, Mr. Boom warned his son, saying he should be careful with his words and not hurt others because of his own thoughtlessness. After that, Ten couldn't stop thinking and tried to find a way to fix everything. When the two of them, both having slightly broken hearts, were walking on the street, they suddenly ran into each other. Lu said she once wanted to distance herself from Ten, but then they ended up together again. But today, he was the one telling her not to follow him anymore. She was confused about what Ten actually wanted. As soon as she finished speaking, she was even more shocked when he said the two of them weren't a good match, and he couldn't force himself to be by her side just to make her feel glad and happy. Actually, deep down, he believed he couldn't take care of her the way she deserved. Ten told himself she had to build her own life, stay away from him, and take care of herself. His words were more than Lu could bear. Hurt, she ran away in tears. When Ten woke up the next morning, he searched for her everywhere, but he couldn't find her. Desperate, he asked his mom. She said she didn't know where Lu was, only that she had cried all night before disappearing, and maybe he should start by looking in her room. He went, but he didn't find her anywhere. He realized that she had moved out of the house. He ran around like a crazy person, searching for her everywhere, but he couldn't find her. Turns out, Lu had left Ten's house very early to go to her father's restaurant. She tried to act tough, and along with Chang, she kept smiling, playing around, and joking to hide her pain. They spent the whole day happily together. At one point, when she almost slipped and fell, her father caught her and held her in his arms. They accidentally hugged. Of course, Ten arrived at that exact moment and saw them together. His face clearly showed anger and jealousy. Lu, surprised, tried to explain and clear up the situation, but Ten ignored her and walked away in a rage. That night, when Chang took Lu back home, he realized she was sad. When he asked why, she refused to answer. Finally, she blurted out that she was sad because she was so stubborn, always waiting for Ten to care about her. But in reality, he never paid any attention. The next day, Ten went to meet Lu's father to apologize for making his daughter sad. Her father listened and then said he knew his daughter loved Ten very much, but he didn't want her to be looked down upon. In love, they might not love each other anymore, but if they look down on each other, it's unacceptable. He advised Ten to think very carefully and then tell Lu. She might seem like she's not good for much, but actually, she's always a strong person. And intelligence isn't necessarily something that can be used in love. Before long, New Year arrived. As usual, Ten was late, which made Lu worry. But when he finally showed up, he wasn't alone. He walked in with a beautiful girl named Nana. She was introduced as his new friend, someone who had come to help him handle the company's work. Lu immediately misunderstood, thinking he had left her for Nana. Later, Ten's younger brother revealed the truth. Nana wasn't just a new friend. She was actually Ten's ex-girlfriend, someone he had met in Japan. They had been together for 10 years, and he had never really been able to forget her. Even now, in some way, he was still in love with her. Hearing this broke Lu's heart. She went home and cried until she fell asleep. In the morning, she wiped her tears and tried to act strong. Meanwhile, Ten felt torn apart. He tried to prove that his past with Nana didn't matter anymore. But at the same time, jealousy was eating him up. Things got worse when Chang, the kind and thoughtful friend who is always by Lu's side, comforted her once again when he saw her crying. In a moment of frustration, Lu told Chang to stay away from her, but Chang refused to give up, reminding her that he would always be there for her, no matter what she said or did. Gradually, she started to lean on him, preparing herself to accept his presence in her life. One day, Ten caught them together again, and jealousy took over him. He regretted letting her go and realized everything was his fault, but before he could fix things, he found out that Lu had packed her bags and left their house. At her father's restaurant, she apologized to Chang for losing her temper with him earlier. Chang told her he wasn't mad and gently asked her to go out. At the same time, Ten was with Nana. She asked him about his real dream. Finally, he confessed that his dream was to become a doctor, not for fame, but because he wanted to be close to the person he truly loved for the rest of his life. Nana understood. She realized that he didn't love her anymore, that his heart now belonged to someone else, and that was Lu. Later, while out with Chang, Lu noticed his growing closeness. He asked her straight out about Nana, the girl he saw walking with Ten. She reluctantly explained. Finally, it was clear that Chang wanted to be more than just a friend, but while she tried to accept that deep down, She felt uncomfortable and sad because her heart was still attached to Ten. Chung was jealous and wanted to give himself a chance. So he proposed to Ta Lu. But she dodged the answer. He tried to convince her in many ways, confident that if she gave him a chance she would definitely love him. But Ta Lu didn't give him a straight answer and walked away. The next day when she arrived, she saw Nana waiting for Ten. As soon as she saw Nana, Ta Lu politely greeted her. Nana seemed like a good girl and even invited Ta Lu to eat with them. But Ta Lu refused. After that, when she got close to Ten, she noticed how intensely Nana cared about him, how close they were, and how well they looked together. This made Ta Lu jealous, so she kept trying to walk past Ten to get his attention. When she got to her father's restaurant, she asked Chung if he still wanted to marry her. Chung immediately assured her that he was ready to marry her anytime. After waiting for so long, he was finally overjoyed to know that she might be giving him a chance. He couldn't believe he was about to get engaged to the love of his life, but Ta Lu felt anxious. She had always only seen Chung as a friend, nothing more and nothing less. This was the first time she had to see him as a lover. However, Chung convinced himself that she would accept him naturally, and he was ready to love her no matter what. Ta Lu told herself she had chosen the right person, someone who truly loved her, and they started spending all their time together. Chung constantly showed his care for her, openly confessed his feelings, and made her realize how deeply he loved her. Her relationship with Ten started to fade away completely. He became like a stranger, neither friend nor foe. The next day at university, Namkan waited for Ten and asked him straight out if he loved her. He told her that he only liked her way of thinking and her intelligence, but he rejected her feelings. Hurt, Namkan accepted the rejection and decided to move on. Meanwhile, Chung met Ta Lu and proudly told her that he had participated in a cooking competition and got certified. His level was now high enough to open a shop. She was happy for him and supported him.
As for Ten,
when he thought about meeting Chung and receiving the warning that he was determined to have Ta Lu and make her very happy and joyful, his heart ached. He was sad all day until Nana noticed and asked why he was troubled, but he brushed it off. Nana remembered a promise they had made long ago and asked him straight out if he still liked her. She told him that she only had 1 month left before returning to her country, because he was worried about his daughter and curious about Ten's new friend, Mr. Han visited his friend and asked about the relationship between Ten and Nana. His friend explained that Nana and Ten had been close since they were kids. She was always the one by his side helping him get through everything, and they admired each other very much. At this time, Ta Lu brought food for his parents, so she happened to overhear the conversation between the parents. She didn't know if she had any hope left to be with Ten. She was sadly about to leave when she ran into Ten standing right in front of her. She waited for him to say something, anything, but he stayed silent, and she couldn't stand it. She felt sad and walked away. When she got home, she locked herself in her room, cried nonstop and drowned in pain. The next day, Ta Lu's father suddenly heard someone knocking on the door. When he went to check, he saw Chung standing there. Chung asked for permission to marry his daughter. The father was shocked and told him not to rush. But Chung explained that he had loved Ta Lu since they were little, that he was sure about his feelings, and she was the person he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. Her father was moved and agreed. Although he made it clear that the final decision was up to his daughter, he hoped she would agree because he could see how much Chung loved her. Chung was overjoyed and said the rest was up to her, but suddenly Ta Lu walked in while they were still talking. Nervously, he interrupted and told Ta Lu that he wanted to ask her something. She asked what he wanted, and he said he wanted her to go on a date with him. After that, Ta Lu's father met her family and announced Cheng's proposal. He told them that in principle he agreed, but the final choice was in his daughter's hands. Right then, Ten walked down the stairs, but when they saw him, they immediately stopped their conversation. It seemed Ten also felt something was off from the look in their eyes. Even though he tried to press them, no one said anything else. Meanwhile, Ta Lu went to the amusement park with Chung. They spent time together, and she felt happy and very comfortable. This moment, Chung tried to confess his real feelings, but he got nervous and backed out at the last second. At the same time, Ten and Nana were also at the amusement park on a date. When Ta Lu got hungry, she sat and waited for Chung to go buy food for her. By chance, she saw Nana acting intimate with Ten. Actually, at this moment, Ten had dust in his eye and she was just trying to blow it out for him. However, for a moment, Ta Lu misunderstood the situation and became sad. When Ten noticed and tried to approach her, she told him she didn't care and walked away. Meanwhile, Chung, who had gone to buy food for Ta Lu, came back and couldn't find her. He panicked but then called her and finally caught up, giving her the food. As she started eating, she found a ring hidden inside. Shocked, she asked him about it. Nervous but determined, Chung honestly admitted that he liked her, wanted to marry her, and was ready to stay by her side until she learned to love him back. However, Ta Lu, still thinking about Ten and Nana, felt exhausted and confused. But in that emotional moment she said yes. Chang couldn't believe his ears and was overjoyed. But unfortunately, Ten heard everything. His mood changed immediately, and he walked away in deep sadness. That night, when Ta Lu returned home, she couldn't stop thinking about Chang's proposal and her own reaction. She felt anxious and scared because she still wasn't sure about her feelings for him. Her father noticed her uneasy state and gently tried to reassure her. He told her to take it slow, think carefully, and remember that he would respect her decision no matter what it was. He advised her not to rush into such an important matter. Ta Lu reflected on her father's words and realized that she really shouldn't make a decision before being sure about her feelings. Meanwhile, Ten's mother noticed her son was sad and asked him why. Finally, he admitted that he had seen Ta Lu with Chang, and that it had broken his heart. It was clear that they loved each other. Afterward, Mrs. Kyo and her husband rushed to meet Ta Lu's father to discuss things together. Mr. Han said Ta Lu was still wearing the ring Chang gave her as a promise. Hearing that, Mrs. Kyo suggested they should give Ten a hint. Maybe the boy would find a way to solve it. However, while the conversation was still going on, Ta Lu suddenly appeared, and the parents' effort to think of a way came to a dead end. After that, when Ta Lu went to the university, her friends noticed she was distracted and no longer focused as usual. Pa asked her why. Ta Lu told her friend about her relationship with Chang, that he had proposed to her, and she had agreed, but she still wasn't sure about her feelings for him. Pa advised her friend not to rush into marriage before being sure, knowing that she still had feelings for Ten. In another scene, Ten was talking with Nana. She said she had to return to Japan soon, and hinted that she really liked him and wanted to stay by his side. She asked if he had the same feelings, but Ten remained silent and didn't answer. At this point, she realized that he didn't return her feelings. As for Ta Lu, she also felt uncomfortable because she had rushed into the engagement with Chang, while still being in love with Ten. When Chang came to visit, her father noticed his daughter was sad and asked him to give her time to think and decide. Chang agreed. The next day, while Ten was having breakfast with his family, his younger brother happily ran in to announce that Ta Lu was finally getting married. When he heard the news, Ten was shocked. He got frustrated, left his meal unfinished and walked away. In his anger, he got into an accident and had to go to the hospital. Nana quickly went to visit him. She stayed by his side worried. After he recovered, she went to the airport to leave. But before going, she realized that he had feelings for someone else. Afterward, Ten ran everywhere looking for Ta Lu, but he couldn't find her. He went to her father's house to ask around, and they told him she had gone to meet Chang at his new restaurant. He rushed there, but when he arrived, he saw Chang hugging her. He felt heartbroken and realized that he might have truly lost her. But the truth is, at that moment, Ta Lu admitted to Chang that she only saw him as a big brother. She thanked him for always being by her side and supporting her, but she admitted that she couldn't keep lying to herself anymore. She took off the ring and gave it back to Chang. Finally, Chang understood and apologized for putting pressure on her, even though he admitted he still loved her. When she walked outside, she saw Ten waiting there, looking tired and not very well. As soon as he saw her, he quickly confessed his love. Ten said he finally understood his feelings, but he also knew it was too late. He apologized for not caring about her or her feelings before. He begged for a second chance, but the strong Ta Lu refused. She reminded him that he had hurt and lied to her many times, and coming back now didn't mean anything anymore. She walked away, and Ten, with a broken heart, realized that her feelings were gone. The next day, Chang went to visit Ten. Ten asked him to please take care of Ta Lu, but Chang got angry and punched him, saying that Ten was the one who abandoned her, and she, as always, had chosen Chang. Still determined, Ten ran to Ta Lu and gave her a letter, asking her to read it. In the letter, he told her just how much he loved her. He proposed to her. Ta Lu was moved and decided to give him a second chance. She happily agreed. He returned to his family, and when they heard the news that he decided to marry Ta Lu, everyone was joyful and supportive. This time, he chose to do everything the right way. He came for a formal proposal and met her father. Mr. Han agreed to the marriage. Finally, they had a wedding. And the movie ends here. Everyone, please remember to like and follow the channel so you don't miss the next exciting movies.